One of 3 epic prizes by joining the OneRing.net club on Gemma and embark on a quest filled with treachery, unbreakable bonds, and breathtaking collectibles. The OneRing.net Collectors Club is the best place to meet other Lord of the Rings fans, catalog your collection, and defeat evil on Gemma. Want, admire, collect, buy, and sell everything in Middle-earth and beyond. Join today and collect the precious on Gemma, the ultimate collecting platform.
It was good to meet you.
You too.
You've been...
produced about the world of Tolkien fans and how they respond to the professor's good works. And then you rewind the clock a few years forward, and then the Hobbit films come out, breathing a whole new wave of life, a whole new breath of life into our fandom. And then there was this polarization, and how some of us loved the Hobbit films, and some of us did not.
Yep.
We all had our own love-hate relationships with the Hobbit films. And now here we are.
I liked them.
Well, I know you did. I know you did, because you never read the bloody book.
I liked them too.
My co-host, Justin here, Justin Sewell, co-host and producer, he's the little man behind the curtain that you're not supposed to pay attention to, according to the Wizard of Oz.
And the man that's supposed to make sure that the audio is working every week.
He makes the
But
audio and
I
the
have
video
to
work.
get in front of the camera and not focus on my actual job, which is making sure the audio works. That's why they call me Simple Justin.
And the connections. So this is where you're at. You're at theonering.net, because now the next wave of intense fandom is about to arise again with, of course, the advent of the $500 million franchise, and that's before production costs. Amazon Television has dropped $500 million to license all of the Tolkien stories from The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and we have broken the news here on this show, thanks to your clever sleuthing.
You wrote all those tweets.
Thank you. And I wrote that massive Twitter thread that was heard around the world a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
And that is because we know now that they're going to throw down this massive television show, starting with characters and scenarios that are from the appendix in the back of The Return of the King, all very familiar to us. Hashtag Young Aragorn. Tell us what you think about all that craziness.
That's not the actual name of the show. We don't know what it's going to be named, but
No, well,
we know that
what?
it's going to be about young Aragorn.
I would offer, from a Tolkienist point of view, from a strict
the Tolkienist.
from a strict book, learned book point of view,
That would be a good Twitter account, the
Tolkienist. There probably is one. It is a misnomer to even use the phrase young Aragorn, because he never used that phrase. While he was young, Aragorn could never be identified as Aragorn. He hid his identity, and to stay alive from the clutches of the enemy, who still remained crawling around in the northern realms after the Witch King of Angmar had done his dirty business everywhere, Aragorn hid, and he had many aliases and many secret identities, so that the enemy would not find out who he really was as the final descendant of Isildur. So, young Aragorn is a misnomer. Maybe we should come up with a better hashtag. What do you think?
How many names did Aragorn have?
Oh, gosh. Really? Even after he became king? When he was crowned the king?
All in. How many names?
He changed his name again. It wasn't even King Aragorn. It was King Elisar. So, in the beginning, he was born Aragorn. He was adopted by the folks in Rivendell. That would be Mr. Elrond and those folks. Celebrian, his wife, she was still there, perhaps? I'll have to check my timeline. So after Aragorn, his first fake name was Estelle, and then his second fake name was Thorongil.
Radagast says 6 in the chat room. Let's see if
6?
you're right.
Okay, we got
All right,
Thorongil.
Aragorn, Elisar, Thorongil.
Well, no, Elisar will get to the end.
Okay.
Wait, right. Aragorn, Estelle, when he was a small boy.
Okay.
And then when he grew up, come on in. Don't be shy, sweetheart. Take a seat. Oh, I know. Looky-loos. I love it. So we're here doing a live show at the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
In the heart of Hollywood.
And you should come and join us. We're getting a big live audience coming together. Because Kevin Smith is going to be following us as soon as we're done with this broadcast. Wait, Aragorn, Estelle, Thorongil, when he went to go fight with Eowyn's grandfather, Theoden's father, Thengel.
Okay.
Okay, remember that?
No.
So he was Thorongil when he had his adventures with the Rohirrim. So 1, 2, 3, and then there would be Strider, when he was one of the rangers of the north, keeping an eye on the boundaries of the Shire, protecting the hobbits from trolls, wandering orcs, etc. So we're at 4 now, Strider. And then, oh, sugar, Tel-Contar. Galadriel called him Tel-Contar. And then when he was crowned king, it was King Elisar. That's 6. We've hit 6. Am I correct?
We hit 6. Tel-Contar is
I didn't see
secret
that
one.
But there it is. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Sarah posted it in the
Thank
chat room right before it came off your tongue.
That's
so
funny.
I'm going to
That's
give
funny.
Sarah points to you.
Give Sarah points, yeah. But I said it without seeing what she wrote, so I get some points too. What are you drinking, birthday boy? We'll wait until the bartenders are putting together the well. We're gonna wait till we'll chill everything in the well, and then you might be surprised, young hobbit, that it comes in pints, and it might be a larger serving than you're used to having. It might be a little bit more than you're used to having at once. You're good, all right. My friend is in the audience. Happy birthday, sir. 111 years old today.
And that's why we enjoy doing the show here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina, because it's open to the public.
And you should come party with us.
You can celebrate any reason.
Celebrate
how many
being a Tolkien fan every day of your life.
I've always wondered, how many holidays did Hobbit folk actually have?
Professor Tolkien was interested in creating several analogies from our, in the English-speaking Northern European countries. There was Yuletide, which was when all the pagan rituals were adopted into the church.
Is that like Rolltide?
Like, when Christmas was adopted by the church, they were trying to get all the other pagan believers in the larger, ecosystem all around and say, you want to do your stuff, you can do your stuff, but come do it under our house. You can have your Yuletide and your logs and your wreaths and all those little Christmas things that you pagans love to do, but let's dress it up, Jesus style, and get you under our house.
Oh, you know what? This is a great question.
So that's why Christmas time kind of stuck as a lot of those rituals.
Back to the question on Aragorn's names.
Well, I'll get back to that. Okay, we'll get back to that.
Says, I thought Telcontar was just the dynastic name, like King Elisar established the House of Telcontar, just like Queen Elizabeth is the House of Windsor.
Indeed.
What do you say, Tolkien scholar, author of multiple books, writer and producer of award-winning documentaries?
He's going to lay that at my feet now. He's laying that at my feet. Oh, gosh. All right. I had never thought of it as a dynastic name. I had thought of it as, strictly an elvish, idiomatic expression among royal family, because I get the feeling that, Galadriel is still related to Arwen. Galadriel is, great.
What?
Wait. Separate. There's a bloodline relation if you go far enough back, all the way to Beren and Luthien. Yes. So don't get weird about this. But Aragorn and Arwen have some family ties that are a little bit more intriguing when you take a close look at them. And I had thought that Telcontar was just like a thing that was spoken of privately between Galadriel and Aragorn. I mean, it was her idea to give him that brooch as a gift, anyways. So yeah. But what's more interesting, we're talking about dynastic names or titles. Did you know that Treebeard accidentally got a name, an honorific name, and it was called Eldest? Legolas refers to Treebeard, and because of that nickname, that honorary title that Legolas gives him, a lot of fans misread that as a literal statement, and they think that Treebeard is the eldest living thing in Arda, but that is not true. That distinction belongs to Tom Bombadil, right?
We will not see him in season 1, will we? Or could we?
Wouldn't it be awesome if we saw Tom Bombadil in season 1 of the Amazon show? Wow. Finally.
I guess he wants it.
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about this. Do we have newbies in the audience? Who is aware? Raise your hand in this audience if you're learning just now that Amazon Television is going to fill the vacuum when Game of Thrones goes off the air with a massive Lord of the Rings-based licensed show. Just learning this now, big time money.
Big time.
$500 million was spent to negotiate the deal with the Tolkien estate. Beyond that, 5-season commitment at, maybe $300 to $400 million production.
He didn't say that. He said he's committed to a minimum of $1 billion, all in.
Because you've got to add in, on top of production, marketing, advertising. So you will cross $1 billion when we know they spent $500 million on just the license.
No, that's not marketing, advertising. He's $1 billion all in for cost of the show and talent.
Cite your source. Journalistic integrity.
Hollywood Reporter.
The Hollywood Reporter. That's your source. Okay.
They're not fake news.
Yeah, it's going to look amazing.
I hope it looks just like the movies.
But there's a pressure cooker. There's a time limit and a pressure cooker going on with this show, because no one's ever pushed them into a corner saying, you're going to lose this license if you don't go into production within 2 years.
2 years?
Within 2 years. That's a very short window to assemble the team and the showrunners and the directors and the right resources. That's not a lot of time to get your ducks in a row.
And this is why we put together this potential list
Okay, I'm gonna show this to you because it's on the screen.
Aragorn
You guys gotta
casting.
see this.
But
No,
we're
no,
going
no,
to talk
no,
about
no.
this later in the show. But you guys get ready because we want to hear your input.
Oh, I love this, Justin. I love that you did this. Okay, full volume. I'm going to turn the brightness up on this.
Full volume.
You got to see this, guys. Okay? Considering that I broke the news here on this show and on Twitter that they're going to make the story from the appendices about Aragorn's early life, the trials and tribulations of his family
Kate and
line.
Suji, I see you.
His family line went through a lot of difficulty, like you wouldn't believe. But it leaves us, like I said, it leaves us at a point of wild speculation now. Who's going to play young Aragorn?
Radagast asks,
take a look at some
how do I
possibilities we
get
got
my face on that sheet? And the answer is, I think we should do another episode of who could be cast in the new Lord of the Rings based on cosplayers and YouTubers and Instagrammers, because for the last 15 years, there's been some amazing cosplay.
That's not an official list. That's just that graphic we were just showing you, which we're handing to our audience around us now, is Justin's dream ideas.
No, this is not a dream.
This is all Justin.
This is
I
a
didn't have anything to do
nightmare.
with this.
This is a nightmare scenario.
What's a nightmare scenario? Wait, why? What did you? Was Timothy Chalamet on that graphic?
No, he's not.
Then
this is not a dream
Oh,
situation.
this is not a dream scenario. What is it then?
Wait, Hannah says Sebastian Stan. You know what? Everyone
thinks
you know what? Let's just jump into it. And if Josh wants to call in, all
right, yeah,
we'll sidestep and talk about the new contest. All right.
By the way, the hotline is blowing up, and if you just noticed for the first time, we do have a hotline. See that number floating above my head?
Right there. Right there.
5
right
feet.
there.
Ouch.
Right there.
Bitch, please.
Right there.
Bitch, please. I'm gonna get all
we
Samuel L.
missed it.
Jackson on
We
you in
missed
a
it.
minute. 530-64 FRODO.
That's really our phone number.
For Frodo.
For Frodo's really our phone number.
Yes, every time. Every show, every time.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, we got a good crowd today, and it's only going to get bigger.
Going to get better. According to our hotline, gents, your sound is off. Oh, never mind.
You don't need to read those texts.
I'm just reading those.
Oh, you're silly.
I'm just trying to
All
make
right,
sure.
you know what? I'm
Hey,
just going to
it's
start
Pipsqueak.
this list. First off, Viggo Mortensen, the one true king, the original and only Aragorn. Actually, not the only Aragorn, because who played Aragorn in the animated Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings?
John Hurt. Right after he had finished working with Ridley Scott on the first Alien film, right after his stomach was exploding, he got off of that set with Ridley Scott, went into the sound recording studio with Ralph Bakshi.
Where would we know John Hurt from?
Hello? Where would you know him from? Everything.
Oh, we're getting
Are
Josh
you
on the
kidding me?
hotline.
I'm telling you, where would you not know John Hurt from? He played the Elephant Man in the David Lynch classic film.
All right, you know
he
what?
was that
I'm just
very
gonna start
rich
this
benefactor
first
who
off,
gave Jodie
Viggo
Foster all
Mortensen,
that
the one
money
true king,
to make that
the original
spaceship to
and
go
only
off
Aragorn.
to
Actually, not the
somewhere
only Aragorn,
Vega
because who
in
played
Contact,
Aragorn
to go to
in
the
animated
constellation
Ralph
Vega.
Bakshi
He was the
John
evil
Hurt.
chancellor in V for Vendetta.
Right after
That,
he
you
finished
know,
working
is the
with
cause
Ridley
of
Scott
all
on
the
first
pernicious
Alien.
evil in that totalitarian
Can you hear me?
society. Who is John Hurt? He's Ollivander, the Wand Maker in Harry Potter. Who is John Hurt? Thank you so hard. He starred in a great film with Sir Ian McKellen once called Scandal, about a member of Parliament who was doing the kinky winky with a naughty girl back in the 60s, and there was some escandalo, some payoff to keep her shut for the evil judgment was coming upon a member of Parliament for, and it was Ian McKellen who was playing the salacious lad.
Hey, look who we got on the
Yes,
hotline.
that's right. That was very interesting.
Can you hear me?
And what are we dealing with now? All kinds of political
It
scandal.
looks like we got Josh on the hotline.
Hey, Josh, we do have you. Josh, that video you made for Jemmer was awesome sauce. By the way, totally.
Now,
Thank you
to
for that.
introduce Josh, you're seeing him on screen right now. Josh Long is LSR on theonering.net. He just disappeared. And there he is. Now we see him.
There we go.
And he's been our collectibles editor for many, many years. In fact, almost all of the collectibles posts you've seen on the One Ring for the last 10 years has only been Josh. Not only that, it's been at great personal expense. I mean, the One Ring doesn't pay for anything. We're a fan site.
What's up, guys?
Howdy, howdy. How are you?
Good to see you. Always welcome back. Good to have you again.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Thanks for letting me steal a little bit more of your time. I just want to chime in real quick before we talk about all the fan stuff. I'm with Justin. I also love the Hobbit films. So there's at least 2 of us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
As far as the Collectors Club, it's doing really well. We're up to about 540 members. So we've gained about 100 members since last week, since I talked to you.
Oh wow.
So we're making pretty good progress, getting the word out, through all the different social medias and just sharing it on message boards and stuff like that. So we're doing a pretty good job of getting people to come into us. I know I sent Justin a few things that we'll talk about. Do you want to talk about the contest at the end, or do you want to save it for the end and be the last?
Let's do it now. Let's get the hype out of the way.
Okay, the contest that we teamed up. Obviously, we're working with the folks at Jimmer who have been, as I've said before, absolutely fantastic. We've got a contest running from now till June 29th, so it's roughly 30 calendar days. There's several prizes. We got three levels of prizes. One of them is a Funko Treebeard. Ironically enough, you guys talked about Treebeard just a few minutes ago.
That's right.
We've got a mini Weta ring wraith it's out of my collection, so hopefully it's been loved and cared for. And then I know you put in some Hobbit stuff, some like a big billboard type thing of it. Yes, so we've got some really cool stuff.
That final prize is a bus shelter 2-sheet from Battle of the Five Armies, The Hobbit. These were not for sale.
No, they're huge.
And we have one still in the cardboard box. It is. I don't know if it's that one. It might be the Luke Evans sheet.
If it's the light box one that's double-sided, that means it can be lit from behind. The way that they put them up in massive bus shelters. And it is it's one of those. It's not like the regular.
It's a heavy paper.
Yeah,
it's like a
super heavy paper.
And
sometimes it's some kind of a plastic acrylic type of film that is almost like a piece of sheet.
And it's oversized. It is large.
Huge.
It's taller than me. It is way up here.
It's not your regular size poster that you would get at a fan website.
It's
for
like
a
a 7 or 8 foot tall poster. This is something that's
why you use the word 2-sheet instead of 1 sheet.
That's right.
Why he
And
called it that.
all 3 prizes are going to be shipped from us, and so we'll get those out to you. And the folks at Jimmer are going to help us out with shipping and stuff, so that way we can make sure that it's open worldwide. Because as you know, obviously mailing stuff sometimes can be kind of expensive, and they're really being awesome with helping us out with that, so that way we can make sure everybody's open to it. It's not just open to in the contest page, which is by the way, just got posted on the front page. Pat just got that posted for us. So it'll automatically show up on Twitter. I know we've got it on Facebook. It's not just for people that are joining the club, new people. It's it says on the contest page right when you get there that it is for anybody who is already a member as well. So obviously we don't want folks who are already members of the club to feel like, oh great, new people are getting something and we're not. So it's open to everybody. The prizes are really cool, and I really think it's going to help generate some really cool interest for us. I'm really excited about it because it's just another way for us. Obviously we're all about giving back, obviously here at Torn, and giving back to the community. And Justin and I have talked about kind of one of the interests to get going. From my aspect is one of the things I really love to do is to give back to the community. It's one of the reasons why I do the reviews, because it's a chance for me to give back in at least some small way. So this is just another way to do that. I think people are really going to love it.
Yeah, how tall is that ring wraith statue?
Well, it's part of their mini line, so he's got to be he's
probably that big, like
much smaller
to scale.
Maybe this, like I don't know if you can see this. Like here's my bottle of vitamin water. He's probably about that big.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have the product page up in front of me, but he's roughly maybe, I don't know, 8 inches tall, however tall about a 20-ounce bottle of pop or vitamin water is.
Just about the same size as Treebeard that we have.
Yeah, probably. That's a pretty good comparison. Yeah, that would be definitely a good comparison.
And that poster is not to scale. The poster's huge.
Yeah, those sheets, those posters are. I don't think people realize how big those types of things are. I've got a couple of billboard type things from other licenses and stuff that I won at raffles or whatever, and they're massive.
Josh,
you better have a big wall.
let's tell the audience that's just joining us right now what exactly they can do to join and make a new account on Gemmer, which is the easiest thing to do, so you can show off some of your very cool Tolkien collection to your friends and everybody around. But more importantly, let's remind people how easy it is to join this contest. What do they have to do to enter?
At the top of if you go to gemmer.com, you can obviously find us there. And once you join, you're automatically entered. If you go to our front page up at the very top, it says collecting. You can click that, and it takes you directly to the Torn Gemmer page. If you click on the article that just popped up on our front page, there's a sign-up deal that takes you directly to the contest page. If you click on anything on Twitter, Facebook, it's in the description for the YouTube video. All of it takes you directly to that sign-up page, which then in turn takes you directly to the club page. It creates an account for you, which is free, and it puts you into the club. So you got an account. You can start posting stuff. We've already got like 10 or so collections. Give or take. Several hundred photos already, probably between me and several other people. So
it looks amazing. The what people are collecting and what they're proud to show off what they just got. Like even the coffee mugs and the amazing posters that I'm seeing. The prints are awesome.
Someone posted the other day some old video game magazines from Lord of the Rings games from the 1980s or whatever. And so it was, I had never seen those before. I thought those were really neat because, that was obviously before my time in gaming and everything like that. And so it's always nice to see that kind of thing and be introduced to things you had never seen before.
Isn't that funny? Everyone's like, oh, all that Tolkien stuff before my time. And I'm the only one in the room who's like, I remember those. Those are things that I had when I was a kid.
That's how I feel, Cliff, when I explain things in my class and my students are like, what?
What? I mean, I'm the guy in the room who can tell you that C-3PO, Anthony Daniels, did the voice of Legolas. I'm the guy who can tell you that John Hurt, who's been in everything fantasy and sci-fi that we have ever loved, from Ridley Scott all the way down to, Harry Potter and everything in between. May he rest in peace. I can tell you all these old connections, but I love feeling like the old, what do you call it, the elder statesman. Even though I do feel like.
Well, Josh, you've been seeing some old stuff on the collector community.
Yes, Josh. What are the coolest old things you see that you are like, wow?
Well, like I said, the magazine covers, I thought those were pretty slick because obviously being a fan of Middle Earth and loving Middle Earth, I play video games, so that was very cool. Obviously. They're redoing the complete recordings in vinyl, and so somebody the other day, I think I mentioned it last week, posted the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, an old 45, the small record. I think that was 45s, right?
Oh my gosh, really?
And it posted on there. I thought that was really neat.
I'm glad you showed that. I had never ever seen that before until you had showed that.
I didn't even. I figured. That might be on to be honest with you, might be on an 8-track or something like that around that time maybe period, but I'd never seen a record of that, so that was pretty cool.
Vinyl 45.
Those are probably the two neatest things. I think somebody might have had along the lines of a video game. Maybe I think somebody might have posted an old Atari type game or something that was Lord of the Rings, or PC game that was like Lord of the Rings. So
cool.
There's some pretty cool old stuff on there, which, like I said, is neat because we've talked about it before. I've collected a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff, talked about a lot of stuff, but that having this club allows you to see things you've never seen before. And so for me, that's the most exciting thing, is because, there's going to be people in there, me included, that you have something that I've never seen before that I'm like, I wonder if I could possibly go track that down someplace. And so it opens that avenue.
Oh, totally. And I love the Discover tab because it feels like a Pinterest board of just cool stuff.
Look at that item on the left. That is a silver metallic version of Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings poster. It is a very, very limited edition.
Really?
Yes, I had one of those when I was like 11, 12 years old. It's like really like a heavy, like a really thick
And
mylar.
Justin was talking about the discover part, and the nice thing about that discover part, sorry, Cliff, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
apologize. Is you can search things on that particular page, or if you click, there's an option to just click by collection, and you can look at people's collections in general. Like, you know, so it just depends on how you want it. Do you want it like a Pinterest board where you can see everything? Or do you want more broken down and kind of depending on how your OCD is? Like me, I have to break it down and see people's collections in spot. It's a little too much for me when there's pictures all over the place. So I break it down by how their collection is, and so it's really nice to have that option. We are talking the curators corner that we have on the site. Where right now it's just like the YouTube reviews that I've done. We're working with them to get it set up to where, as we put other things along the side on the front page in the Curator's Corner, we can do other people's reviews, and you can search it and set it up to where if you want to see my reviews, you can see my reviews. Or if Justin wanted to review something, you can see Justin's reviews.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get it in the same fashion because even though it's much easier to find things with that, it's easier to be able to search and find exactly what you're looking for. So we're trying to create some of that on that particular section.
This is amazing, Josh, and I love the sun-kissed Samwise can that just popped up in the feed. But Josh, I wanted to mention. I guess I can break the news right now. Prepare your questions, Josh, and prepare your questions because we have booked the author of the music of Lord of the Rings, Doug Adams.
Mr. Doug Adams.
It's going to be on the show in 2 weeks, and he's going to go track by track on the new vinyl edition Lord of the Rings Two Towers soundtrack. Track by track, giving us all the details.
I'm so down.
It is going to be a music nerd's paradise on every music cue in Lord of the Rings.
Well, to show my nerdiness, that literally just gave me goosebumps. I'm not going to lie.
Two Towers is my favorite of all of the soundtracks. And so I'm really excited to have Doug Adams on the show in a couple weeks to go track by track. Like this is over 180 tracks, every music cue in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, and he is going to discuss all of the themes and all of the notes and the impact every single track has. We might go overtime on this because I'm a music nerd. What do you think, Josh?
I'm excited. I'll be viewing as I almost always do unless some family issue comes up. But I will be there for that. I've also got my order at Amazon done and taken care of, so that way I don't miss out. Because these vinyls anymore, with no matter who it is, they once they're done, they're a collectible in their own right because of that. Once they press them, they're out, they're done, and they usually don't go back and repress them, especially something. And with Lord of the Rings or whatever, those are the types of genre type things. They don't go back and repress.
Now, when did
they do it once and done?
Sorry, when did the Fellowship of the Ring vinyl soundtrack come out?
It was right around this time, I think. Maybe last year, sometime. I'd have to go back to my Amazon order and see when I ordered it, because I know we talked about it in an email chain. And as soon as it went, I didn't even wait to see if it get posted on the board. As soon as it was in the email chain, I'm clicking on my Amazon app, finding it, and ordering it.
Yes. Fellowship of the Ring sold out
before it shipped. It was sold out
shipped.
Before it shipped. I checked because just before it shipped, just for giggles, and it was gone before it shipped. So, and I've had it for a little while now.
As we speak, the Fellowship of the Ring vinyl collection, every music track from Fellowship of the Ring on vinyl has already tripled in price in less than a year. These things are so collectible. And people seem to forget that the complete recordings CDs, which came out in 2005, were going for upwards of $1,000 on eBay. These are prize collectibles. So this Two Towers blue vinyl set is going to sell out for sure. It's going to increase in value immediately, and it's worth listening to, period, because it's the Lord of the Rings. It's some of the best music out there.
The music is, I mean, obviously not to get into a match with Star Wars fans, and I love Star Wars as well, but I will put anything from the Lord of the Rings soundtracks, especially the extended versions, against anything John Williams has done in Star Wars, music for music, because it's absolutely beautiful. I've lost track how many times I've listened to it at night to calm my mind after a day of work to go to sleep with. So it's beautiful music.
I think that's a future episode where we get two great debaters on here to discuss the merits of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Which one is the better soundtrack? We're at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood, so this is the perfect venue to have this debate.
It is the perfect venue. Josh, before we get lost and go further down the rabbit hole to speculate about Aragorn casting and all this nonsense, let me ask you something. I think one of the holy grail items we could ever have in our brand new shiny corner for the OneRing.net at Gemmer would be perhaps a first edition autographed copy, maybe signed by the professor himself. Copies like that, first editions of The Hobbit, or any first edition British, not American editions, but British editions of The Lord of the Rings, they end up like in the Bodleian Library. They end up in the archives in a refrigerated box at Marquette University. That's where they end up. But I'm waiting for that moment, Josh, when we're going to get one of our fans to open up a new account on Gemmer and show us their first edition. That is, to me, the ultimate.
That's your holy grail?
That's the ultimate collectible. I don't even care about merchandise. I care about the original.
As the club has been around for a little bit, that's one of the things I want to be able to do is, as people post their stuff and some of these really just rare old things, be able to every once in a while, hey, listen, these are the old things, these are the new things, these are the most valuable things that, and have update posts on the front page so people can see, and then obviously migrate eventually to the club. Because there's some really rare and valuable stuff. Some of it, like you said, is old, like a first edition book. And then obviously here a while back, we all talked about collectibles. The original Balrog statue obviously is about a $1,500, $2,000 collectible. And, it's not quite 20 years old, but, in the last 20 years. So
I remember that first Balrog, the Balrog that had that piece, that fragile piece of the whip
that whip
all the way around his body. Remember how difficult that design was? They had problems just in shipment.
It cracked all the time because the way the polystone
that's intact is nuts.
Yeah, the way the polystone is done on it and the angle on it just creates tension in it, and it breaks. A lot of times people would break it because there's a hole, and you can't see me obviously doing this, but there's a hole on one of the shoulders. You have to reach it around, plug it into, and it would actually crack sometimes just plugging it into it because it creates a stress point in the middle of the whip. So, it's and that's why, and it really honestly doesn't necessarily hurt the value because they literally almost all do that. So it's not like it's very difficult unless you find one new in the box that's 20 years old. You're probably not going to find one that doesn't have some kind of small crackling in the whip.
Intriguing. I love that stuff.
Hey, Josh, before we go, let's recap the big announcement. I'm going to bring it up on screen. And how can people enter this contest?
Well, we've got the new contest starting today. It's live. You can find it at the top of the page, on the front page at Torn, through the community, the collecting tab. If you watch the video on YouTube, there's a link there. Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure we'll probably get it on Instagram as well, just to make sure that it's there. Once you're there, there's a big, pretty page that the folks at Gemmer created with the prizes and the nice hobbity background and the rules and regulations and all that stuff. And then at the bottom it says sign me up. It'll take you. You'll create an account. There's different ways to create the account: Google, Facebook, that kind of thing. Once you do that, you're a part of the Torn Club. You've got an account on Gemmer. There's all kinds of collectors clubs you can join if you have other interests besides Middle Earth. And once you're in the club, you've got an entrant into these prizes, and then the contest ends 30 calendar days from today on June 29th. So, once you're in, you're in. And if you're already a member, please don't be upset. It's not to just new folks. You're entered as well. So we're covering all our bases, dotting all our I's and crossing all our T's.
Awesome. Wait, Josh, thanks for coming in today and
Yeah.
launching this awesome prize giveaway. As Cliff said, it's been years since the One Ring has done a giveaway, so this is a real special moment, and it's great.
Well,
to
hopefully
see
this
over
is just the
500
first of
fans
many.
already signed up.
Yep, thanks, guys, for having me on. Appreciate it as always.
Yeah, come on back. Keep coming back. We'll have you as a regular stop on the train. We'll have you as a regular stop on our show. We'll do it.
Well, I just went on summer vacation today, so that sounds like a good plan to me.
Awesome, brother.
Deal. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, buddy. By the way, one of the reasons why I want to get my hands on a first edition of The Hobbit is so I can reread the chapter of Riddles in the Dark, which was the original version, where it's fundamentally different, before Professor Tolkien decided to retcon and rewrite the whole thing to match up with the Lord of the Rings that he had produced about 15 years later on after the publication of The Hobbit.
Speaking of retcons,
I want to read the original version where Bilbo meets Gollum. It's not threatening. He's very nice to Bilbo. He offers to give him the ring. He offers it to him in trade. It's like, I really want to see what it was, and I want to understand how smart it was for Professor Tolkien to realize he needed to do a rewrite on his own best-selling book, because all this new stuff he had written had to come into alignment with the past.
I've only held a first edition British copy of Lord of the Rings. I've not held a first edition Hobbit.
Where did you find a copy? Where were you holding a first edition of The Lord of the Rings?
I cannot. I promise
Oh, no.
never to.
What is this? What is it? You're not going to keep secrets from me when we're live on the air. Tell me what it is.
I've only seen a Lord of the Rings first edition, not a Hobbit first edition. But that does not compare to you walking into the official American Tolkien library in Indiana.
No, we were out. We were in Illinois.
Illinois.
Where were we? In Joliet?
Wheaton?
Wheaton. Yes, we were at Wheaton College.
Wheaton College,
in Wheaton, Illinois.
which it's a small Christian college in Illinois, about 2 hours out of Chicago.
Boy, that was a
and
trip.
they have, through a bequeathment, they actually have J.R.R. Tolkien's writing desk.
That's your 50-cent word
with
for the
his
day.
coffee
Bequeathment.
cups, stains, and everything. And it is set up across the room from C.S. Lewis's writing desk. And we walk in and we say, hey, we're the OneRing.net, and we heard about this place on the internet.
And I approach the desk like I'm approaching the freaking, Ark of the Covenant. Like, oh my gosh, this is Tolkien's desk. And by the way, they would not be coffee stains, brother. They would be tea.
Tea, of course.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot. Thank you. Sorry, I had to.
But
I'm at the desk. I'm genuflecting because I'm not Catholic, but Tolkien was. I'm genuflecting at his desk, and I realize, wait a minute, look, on the surface of the wood grain, there's like impressions of ink, impressions of things that he left behind. There's like, probably DNA left over there in the grains of the wood.
Oh my God, no. I don't want to think about DNA.
No. Like Gattaca, where they all
the
of a
original
sudden,
fanfic.
like an eyelash. Like one of Tolkien's old eyelashes just sitting in a knot of wood on the top of his desk. Wouldn't that be awesome?
You're a fanboy.
It's better than having a mosquito in amber.
No, it's not.
I'm bringing it. Anyways, I'm just trying to make the audience.
But the
laugh.
the librarian said, "Wait, are you the Cliff Broadway that wrote those two books?"
She did. The librarian said, "You're QuickBeam? You're the guy from the OneRing.net." And I'm like, "Yeah,
they
that's
invited
me."
you into the back room where where they keep the books. And the papers and the manuscripts and his handwritten notes
Where
from
they have
Tolkien.
they have all the books on criticism and essays on Tolkien.
They asked for your autograph
They asked for my
amongst
autograph.
all of J.R.R.
Thanks
Tolkien's
for that.
writings.
He lives to embarrass me. But the book was actually a collection of wonderful criticism and scholarly work by everybody at the OneRing.net. It was an omnibus edition of some of our best stuff, and it wasn't just me. Other featured writers, including, and I'm never going to reveal his name because I've been protecting his identity for 18 years, but there's a published Tolkien scholar who is very, very big and very respected in the world of Tolkien, and he took on an assumed nickname to write articles for us back before the Fellowship of the Ring was even released in theaters, yes. And he is one of the best and most well-respected, genuine Tolkien scholars. Me, I'm just an armchair version of a scholar. Please. And this guy We've been protecting his identity for years, and we still will. But if you go back and look at theonering.net and then click Library, you can see some of the old articles and the old essays, many of which were reproduced in print. And yes, the lady at Wheaton College Library at the special collection, she was very nice and very generous, and thank you. I'm so grateful and humbled by all of that.
You know, nowadays we
But it
wouldn't
wasn't just me. It was like a lot of talented contributors. And that's the thing about theonering.net. We're all volunteers. And we've been volunteering as Tolkien fans since, the dawn of time, it seems like.
Yeah, if you want a ghost tweet for The One Ring, please
You want a ghost
DM
tweet?
me. And
Tell him, and he'll ghost tweet you
I'll
through the
give you a
filter.
22 tweet thread and see where it goes.
No, let me be in charge of the threads.
Oh,
Let
really?
me- Let
you're
me
the
do that.
you're the Twitter thread expert. Now,
It's my bailiwick now. So
Cliff,
yes, sir.
we're
No!
We're here to talk about the
casting.
casting
Okay, oh my
of
gosh.
Aragorn. Now,
The
Young
casting
Aragorn.
of Young Aragorn, which is a misnomer. But
Now,
let's
the
go
Lord
with
of the
it.
Rings series is opening with the story of young Aragorn. It's $1 billion 5-season commitment.
Why is Kylo Ren on this
Hold
graphic?
on, wait for it. There's a lot of names on here that we need to get through.
And
Now,
why is he wearing a shirt?
last week we went through potential showrunners.
Yes. No, the
and we
potential showrunners was
crossed
very-
off a lot of names. Joss Whedon was the fastest Red X I've ever written.
That was a very edifying
And,
conversation to talk about
but
the showrunners.
but then
Yeah.
you crossed off Peter Jackson. You don't want him near this series.
I didn't say that. I said he's probably too fatigued to even want to. Why would he want to even bother?
He's the ultimate Lord of the Rings fanboy.
But
He met Ralph Bakshi
wait,
on a train,
Yes,
going
he
to
met
a
Ralph-
Comic-Con.
He met Ralph Bakshi at a film festival. He read Tolkien on a train. I know. Gosh, I know. It's legendary.
But you crossed him off the list.
But the point is, he's got to move on creatively and artistically. That's what Del Toro did. He's like, I want to be here, but I got to move on. I mean, look, he's doing Mortal Engines now, which is going to be... Well,
That's what a lot of
energy.
Fans and staff members of the One Ring are saying. Why don't we let someone else with their creative energy?
Here's a personal conversation I had with Peter when we were at the after party for the.
You dropped names like it's
what's that
water.
you just dropped? We're at the world premiere after party for Battle of the Five Armies.
Go ahead.
Very, very exhausted Peter Jackson is sitting in the corner, and he's like, I think I'm going to do something small next. We're going to do this. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, the one about the World War I New Zealand fighters. And he's like, yeah, I want to do something small, personal. And why he's doing the Mortal Engines, I don't even know why. Because I figured he's tired. I just figured he wants a break. He admitted it. His exhaustion is evident when you look at the behind the scenes on the Hobbit films. He looks exhausted from Middle-earth. If he wants to come on in some Kevin Feige supervisory capacity, then by all means, he might be welcome as doing that. But I would suspect he wants to take a break, don't you guys think? He might want to take a rest? Yeah.
Well, a lot of fans want him to take a break. And we crossed Peter Jackson off the list, but I left.
I am not pushing him out the door. I'm just saying.
No.
No. Thank you. I like the way you think.
But I left Philippa and Fran on there because I think as the two women co-producers and writers of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, I think they'd be the best showrunners, and it would send a message that the biggest, most expensive TV show in history can be handled by a pair of women that are extremely qualified and actually are possibly the best.
They were the engine
choice.
of the writers. The Peter Jackson did revising and rewrites, but the engine of The Hobbit and all the Lord of the Rings script
was Philippa and Fran.
About 80% of it was their work.
All right, so today, let's talk about young Aragorn. Now, first off,
can we
de-age? Can we de-age Viggo Mortensen?
No. The usefulness of having Viggo appear, possibly, in a show like this, would only be for flashbacks. To have him bookend maybe some of the narrative, maybe there could be a framing device where we see much, much older Aragorn looking back on his life. It might be a cheap, overused, piece of television writing, but there isn't a fan in the world who would say no to having Viggo be part of this show.
Now, let's remind people, did Viggo have a big star-studded career before Lord of the Rings, or was this his coming out party?
Viggo was...
He was a working actor.
But he was pals with Cronenberg. He was, and so was Howard Shore.
And he's Danish.
Connective Tissue. Howard Shore was doing all of Cronenberg's music for his films before, this huge thing that he
Now
did for Peter Jackson.
he's a Danish born and grew up in Argentina. He has blonde hair. He had to become Aragorn. I mean, he had to change his physical appearance to become Aragorn. So,
do you know who convinced Viggo to take the role of Aragorn when the casting people, when Victoria Burrows, which was the casting office, and I ought to know it because I made my own submission to Victoria Burrows' office back in 1999. I did. And you know what happened? I'd put all these colorful pages together with characters from the Bakshi film, and she put it up on her bloody office door. Everybody in LA was like, oh yeah, they had this full color thing with all these cartoon characters. And I'm like, that was my mailer. I sent that to Victoria Burrows' office. She didn't call me in for casting, but she put my shit up on the front door. Thanks, Victoria. Anyways, I just had to do that. But Viggo Mortensen was getting the phone call for casting, and he was uncertain what to do with the material. And he looked at his 12-year-old son, and he's like, what do you think of this Lord of the Rings stuff? And his boy went, wow, Dad, are you kidding? This is the most awesome thing ever. And that wild enthusiasm sold him on it. Boom. Exactly.
now but he wasn't the first choice of all the filmmakers. In fact, they shot 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Are you going to talk about the Stuart Townsend thing again?
He was Aragorn. He was cast as Aragorn. They shot him as Aragorn.
It's not the only time Rob Kaczynski was cast in the Hobbit films, and they did a few weeks of shots with him.
That's right.
Or a few days before he had to leave that project, and he was recast by Dean O'Gorman, who played Feely and replaced Mr. Kaczynski, who went on to work on Pacific Rim. But yeah, Mr. Stuart Townsend has a lot of ugly gossip still floating around him from the days of 1999. Do you know what it was?
No.
Dare, you know what? You got dirty gossip? Come sit by me. We'll talk. All right, okay, yeah, come on, lean in all right. Evidently, Stuart Townsend did not want to practice with his sword. He was not interested in fight choreography. He did not do well with combat, with physical rehearsals. He asked, and eventually, he not just asked to have the stunt doubles do all the fight scenes instead of him. He ended up relinquishing. And he's like, Peter, I'm not going to be able to do this. So let the other stunt coordinators do the fighting. These are the rumors that I heard, that he was totally chicken. He wouldn't even pick up his sword. He wouldn't even fight with it. And he was either unwilling or incapable of getting through the fight choreography. Then here comes Viggo. Completely 180 degrees different. Viggo went to sleep with his sword in his sleeping bag. Viggo went off and used his sword out in the wilderness. Viggo was there not just 2 hours a day, but 6 hours a day for combat training. He had the equestrian skills. Viggo had the skills, he had the wherewithal, and not only did he do what was required, but he went above and beyond.
He even bought the horse.
Embraced the essence of that, and he went to sleep. That sword, that beautiful, beautiful sword, was his pillow partner. Sorry, Liv Tyler. Viggo's got some love, and it's for the sword, not you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Anyways, but then all of a sudden, Peter Jackson realized, I finally cast the right Aragorn. Not someone who's afraid of combat, but is ready to embrace the essence of this character.
All right, let's get through this list, Cliff.
Okay, I'm opining.
The
Sorry.
first name on our list is
That's what you're here for.
You saw Solo this weekend, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right, Alden Ehrenreich played Solo.
Yes, he did.
And I've seen all of his other movies, and I couldn't tell you that he was in them because he just disappears into the role.
Yeah.
Do you think Han Solo could be young Aragorn?
It depends upon.
Oh, we got Winces.
We got Winces? I got.
No?
No. He's not the first person who comes to mind because.
With the soft opening of Solo this past weekend?
No. The soft opening of Solo may not have
There's
anything
other
to
forces
do with
at
Alden
work.
Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
It may not have any, but I would.
I don't think he's experienced enough to be able to take on a character of that caliber.
I don't think he has
I agree.
I don't think he looks rugged enough. He looks
not rugged enough.
Do you remember in the Del Toro film Crimson Peak? Remember Crimson Peak?
Yeah.
Where where the father of what's her name, the lead character, the father looks at Timothy Hiddleston's hands. He says, "Give me your hands, son. Your hands look smooth, pampered. Like you've never worked a day in your life.
Right.
Remember him saying that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what Alden Ehrenreich looks like. He doesn't look
he's
tough
too,
enough.
He's
He
too
doesn't
pretty
look
boy.
leathery enough. He's too pretty boy, and he looks too soft.
Really?
His complexion is a little too clean.
All right. What?
To be, I'm just saying. Yeah, maybe.
He's too cookie.
Yeah,
All right.
I want some grit. I want some grit. In
Speaking
my
of grit,
Aragorn.
how about Indiana Jones hair Barrett himself, Shia LaBeouf, as young Aragorn?
No.
We got everyone's laughing.
We got most of the.
He can open the
Cantina
show
is
though.
laughing
He
now.
can open the show. What if he just like?
I
Yeah,
like Shia LaBeouf. I like the bizarreness of his characters. His choices in his career have been interesting. Even when he makes wild missteps, I'll give him credit. But no, he's not right for the role. He just doesn't have it. No.
Okay.
No.
How about now this?
Expecting him to break out and say, "Just do it."
Yeah, he would say just. All right.
Do you know what? You've got, look in the upper right-hand corner, Riz Ahmed.
Now that one came from Twitter. A lot of people were retweeting us about someone suggested
That-
Riz Ahmed
Riz Ahmed, he
as
has
young Aragorn.
that is far more interesting casting. There's an ethnicity to him that can be attributed to
obvious.
all obviously, but
What was he in? First off, what was Riz Ahmed
Rogue
recently
One.
in? He was in Rogue One.
Star Wars Rogue One.
And what was that
But-
HBO show?
But in terms of casting, commercial casting directors often think in terms of unknown or unspecific ethnicity. You might be Roman, Sicilian, you might be from Cyprus, you might be Israeli, you might be Palestinian, you might be somewhere around the Mediterranean, you could be 5 or 6 different ethnotypes. And Riz Ahmed, I think, could bring something to Aragorn which might be Numenorian, because they are not from Middle-earth, they're from Atlantis. They're from a different continent, they're from a different subspecies of humans.
Aragorn
Excuse
is?
my excitement while I spit on the microphone. I'm telling you that going to unconventional ideas of casting is probably where we need to be.
So
for a
Riz
show like
Ahmed
this.
stays on the list.
Yes, Riz Ahmed stays on the list
All right.
because we need some unconventional ideas. Look at who else you've got on here on this. All right.
All right.
All right.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, way down there on the left. He could be an elf. There's no other casting for Cillian Murphy.
He has to be an elf.
How about you cast Cillian Murphy to be the twins? He could play both Eladan and Elrohir.
Elrond's sons?
He could be both of Elrond's sons.
He's great in Peaky Blinders.
Yes,
Anyone
he's
watch
good in
Peaky Blinders?
Yeah. Cillian Murphy is great in Tron Legacy, in Inception, in
Batman Begins.
Yes.
Scarecrow. Yep.
Give me a bloody list of Cillian Murphy.
All
I'll
right.
say
I
yes,
could do
yes.
twin Cillian Murphys as Elrond's
All right, you guys,
sons.
seriously, my phone is blowing up. I think that our hotline is going insane. Whoa,
All right.
Whoa.
Hold
on, it says here,
We're getting
okay.
We're getting tweets and text messages.
Now, here's the message on the hotline. Do we have any idea how long Aragorn will have to be young-ish? Meaning within the timeline of the show itself. We don't know. And thank you for joining our little campfire. Come gather round while I pull out my guitar, and we'll speculate some more crazy nonsense. I love that you're thinking in this way, but we do not know how youngish before the writers shift forward in time.
Now, first off,
And that means another shift forward, meaning another actor to play him in another position in life.
First off, in the books,
Maybe.
in the Lord of the Rings, Aragorn is 80 years old.
Yep.
And at the end of The Hobbit,
Something like that.
he's supposed to be around 10 years old. So the filmmakers are playing a little
Okay.
loose with.
All right.
He's obviously not 80.
No, but
in
he
the
says,
movies.
he says a lot of your list is mid to late 30s. Now, when we're having the Timothy Chalamet conversation for young Aragorn, that would be only specifically when he's in that late teens, early 20s age range. When they're going to show him as Thorongil out in the battlefield with King Thengel and all the other Rohirrim and all that insane battle that's going to be going on, and there will be a lot of it. You're not going to have young, waif-like Timothy Chalamet picking up
He
a
sounds like an
broadsword.
elf. He sounds like an elf.
But why not see a young man at different stages in his life? Yes, we might have mid-30s actors to play Aragorn. We might have a different Aragorn depending upon where they go. We really don't know. The answer is, sorry, we don't know yet.
I've got Cole Sprouse on the list as
for
young
heaven's sakes,
Aragorn.
you would.
He currently.
You would put Cole Sprouse on that bloody
Well,
list.
first off, you see him as an elf. Well, people in the chat room are saying Cole and Dylan Sprouse could be the
love it,
elf twins of Elrond.
Oh, really? Cole and Dylan Sprouse?
So the chat room, I can see that, but I like the Sprouse twins, because they're both huge Tolkien fans. They've been on the show. Dylan's been on the show 2 or 3 times to talk Tolkien. I mean, he can go deep in the lore. He knows his stuff.
Yes.
So
and he's a great interview, and I love that he knows his Tolkien.
And Cole Sprouse, he's currently on Riverdale, making Jughead a character that no one expected to be so interesting.
Yeah. Actually, everything about Rivendell is still an eye-opening surprise.
Riverdale.
That's what I meant to say.
Actually, let's just skip
watch the
Aragorn. Let's make Rivendell the series.
Rivendell.
It's growing up in Rivendell.
This writes itself.
Arwen as a high schooler, and
no, the parody
I would
writes
watch
itself.
the heck out of that show.
We don't want. Hello, Amazon.
Rivendell on the CW.
If you're
Rivendell?
listening, Amazon, we do not want you to make a Riverdale.
Don't.
No, please don't.
No, we're getting nods from people. Like I'm all in for Rivendell. Rivendell on the CW.
All right. Look, you have to explore what writers will generally use as tropes of television. Are you going to have a bookend? Like, are you going to have what did Peter Jackson use? He had old Bilbo writing his memoirs in the book. He ended up using that bookend for all 6 films, the first trilogy and the last. It opens on what he's writing, and it closes when the book is done, and Frodo gives that book to Samwise and says the rest of the pages are for you, which is almost symbolically handing the mythology off to the audience in a way and saying the rest of the pages are for you in that sense. So we're all very comfortable in Middle-earth with these kinds of familiar tropes. Are the Amazon writers going to reproduce that? Are they even going to approach this as an anthology?
You're changing the subject. We're talking about casting young Aragorn, and I think Cole Sprouse is the right age for what this show should be.
I'm not changing the subject because if the writers do not make it an anthology series and they go and jump and they keep it all in one single track of time over 5 seasons, then you're going to have to consider different casting choices. These are issues that are tied together.
As you said on Twitter, the first season of this Lord of the Rings show has to be a home run. So what casting makes it a home run?
You want to put a red X on Robb Stark right there.
Richard Madden? You don't want any Game of Thrones actors in Lord of the Rings?
No. I want to eat some crackers and drink some soda water and wash that taste out of my mouth.
No Robb
Stark. I do
Stark.
not want my familiar Tolkien world characters and energy to look or smell anything like George R.R. Martin. No, sir. I draw the line this far, no further. Damn it.
All right, we've got.
I'm going to get all Patrick Stewart on your ass.
We've got universal agreement on keep
Thank
Game of Thrones away from Tolkien. Now,
and then here comes Alfre Woodard very gently. You broke your little ship. Remember that? I love that movie. Anyways, there was nothing better in the Star Trek universe than Alfre Woodard and Patrick Stewart. They were the 2
I don't want them in Lord of the Rings either.
Ever.
Now,
all right, but whatever.
Have you seen?
I digress.
Have you seen Cobra Kai on YouTube?
No, but everyone's telling me to watch it.
Has anyone seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Everyone's telling me it's good. Really good stuff.
It really is good, but there's a young actor named Tanner Buchanan.
That's him.
In Cobra Kai.
Yes.
That has the right look, and if you look on our screen right now at the bottom middle, Tanner Buchanan, look up Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And I want to hear your feedback. Please tweet at us. Tell us what you think after you've seen the show.
Wait a minute.
I think he's the right age.
Whoa, he looks like a young Sebastian Stan.
Well, Sebastian Stan's on the list because
that's why you got them next to each other.
That got the most retweets out of any potential casting for young Aragorn. Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier.
Okay, in our live chat, Haval says that Tanner is a reasonable choice. And I'm kind of looking at the similarities in their facial features. Maybe that's true, that Tanner could be the younger version. And then here comes Bucky, and he could be the older version of Strider. And by the time we get to that age of Strider, it would be Sebastian Stan. I'm down for that. I'm totally down for that.
I haven't heard any negative feedback on the Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, as young Aragorn. He's like the right popularity. He's got the fan respect. I think all
Yes.
fans can get behind Sebastian Stan as Aragorn.
He has earned the goodwill of all of the fan base. He hasn't misbehaved yet. So far, so good. He's not supposed to. Yeah. So, yeah, those are interesting choices of casting.
Susie in the chat room says Alex Pettifer.
Who's that?
I should know this name.
Alex Pettifer?
The Happy
Pettifer.
Hobbits would know.
All right.
what?
I want to.
I am number 4.
Oh, that one.
That's right.
I am number 4. Yeah. Hey, who's the dude from Maze Runner? Who's the lead? What's his name?
Dylan O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien might be a possible
All
young
right,
Aragorn.
we're going to have to update this
that's
after
not
we
such a bad choice.
X everybody out.
You know what? Out of all the weaknesses, and there were so many in the Maze Runner trilogy, the book's way better, but Mr. Dylan O'Brien was still pretty solid as a performer. I liked him. He was solid. Yeah. Ooh.
Into the Badlands, that's right.
I want to catch up on Into the Badlands. I want to watch that.
Is he the right age for Aragorn, though? If you're coming into Lord of the Rings right now, is he the right age for what you feel Aragorn should be? Dylan O'Brien. Yeah. He can look older. He can look younger.
He could.
Good makeup.
He could.
Yeah.
All right, let's canvass the audience. One of my favorite questions. Come on in. Have a cup of tea. Meet the missus.
If you're just joining us, this is Torn Tuesday. We're theonering.net, and this is our weekly dose of all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And today, we're fan casting Young Aragorn, the new billion-dollar Amazon series.
It is.
5 seasons.
It is. One of my favorite questions is to ask everybody if they were going to build a show with one very, very familiar Lord of the Rings character from the 6 films, would you be down to have one of them come back to be that framing device character who's telling all these histories and all these stories in different ways? Perhaps in Rivendell, deep in the libraries, there you find Lord Elrond. Would you like to have Hugo Weaving come back and be our historian, our narrator, to tell all these stories and do all the flashbacks? I mean, there is a point in the Fellowship of the Ring where he's talking to Gandalf, and we have a big flashback to the moment when Isildur fails to destroy the ring. And Hugo Weaving very convincingly says, I was there all those hundreds of years ago. And so was Cate Blanchett. Remember, she is over 7,000 years old. Galadriel, she might be a character to give us a historian's perspective. She's the narration that opens in the darkness at the Fellowship of the Ring, as if she's whispering ancient history to us. So I'm all about this framing device, and I want to ask you guys, are you down?
How are you changing the subject from Young Aragorn to framing devices?
Because the ultimate framing... No, I've already mentioned this. What if Viggo Mortensen was that one who came back to be the framing device?
I don't think he wants to.
King Elisar himself, reflecting on his life.
I don't think he wants to.
You don't know. I haven't talked to him.
I think
Go ahead, my friend. We have a camera directing right here, right at us, so you might find a more comfortable seat around here on the side. That's okay. Well, that's why I'm letting you know. That's why I'm letting you know. There's a camera right there. Oh, yes. That's true. It would. It would.
Now,
so
I
will
will
ask everybody in this room, raise your hand if you think a familiar player from the Lord of the Rings films might be a great, useful framing device for the new Amazon series. Maybe? I'm getting some only half mediocre responses. All right.
The question's too complicated.
No, it's not.
You're basically asking, do you want Elrond back in this?
Well, do you want Bilbo back? Do you want someone to play old Bilbo and he's still writing stories in that red book?
Or he's undead.
Well, then what framing device do you want?
I just want to make sure that if they do Elrond, that they don't pull a Marvel and they don't recast that character. That is not Hugo Weaving in Infinity War. And that makes me sad.
You know what? At first I was so excited that Hugo had come back to play Red Skull.
And it's not even Hugo Weaving. They found the best impersonator that they could find in Hollywood. Like, he's known for his Hugo Weaving impersonations.
And that's who they got. Yeah.
So that was that wasn't cool, Marvel. All right. Who else do we have on this list? You know what?
Well, maybe Hugo was the one who said no.
There were 2 tweets that said Zac Efron as young Aragorn.
You can blow that idea out the window.
I think we got
along
trolled.
with Roseanne Barr's show. Out the window.
Wow.
Bye. Yeah. No Zac Efron.
Now,
please,
now
no.
here's a name that came up a few
No,
times
no.
that I wasn't familiar with. Tim Pocock. Tim Pocock. He was an X-Men. He was
Which
an
one?
X-Men Wolverine. He played Young Summers.
No, you mean X-Men Origins Wolverine? The one we're not
X-Men
supposed to talk about?
Origins Wolverine. Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine, the one X-Men movie that should not.
Yeah. I think
But
our dear friend Deadpool put a bullet in that, so it's all done. We're never going back to that.
All right,
We're never going back. That wasn't a spoiler. You guys have seen it twice
No
already.
spoilers.
Oh my God. He's got a Deadpool hat on. He's
All right.
just no spoiler. Yes, thank you. All right.
You know what name has come up a lot on Instagram for young Aragorn? Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes, Alexander Skarsgård in anything. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
was
he's
he
awesome.
in? I haven't seen him in anything. He's cool.
He is. He's super cool.
Yeah.
What do you mean you haven't seen him in anything?
I saw pictures that he was Tarzan. I never saw that movie. He what?
Yes, of course you've
He
seen
was
him.
Pennywise?
He was Pennywise.
You
in
want
the
Pennywise as Aragorn?
Massively successful.
What's wrong with you people? Pennywise as Aragorn? No, does
I'm
he have the
down.
right look? Does he have the right look?
Look at him. Look at Skarsgård. Yeah, look at him. Look at that. Yes.
With the long hair from Tarzan, he's got a look.
All right, because of, the magic of Netflix and me catching up on movies that I never saw in the theater, I saw that version of Tarzan, and he has that very, Greystoke Legend of Tarzan type of feel. He's got that Highlander type of feel.
Really?
If they were going to reboot Highlander, then you might even get Skarsgård to do that too. You might as well do him.
So
have
it
him do
sounds
that.
like he's got the cachet to lead a show. Sounds
Yeah.
like he's got the acting chops.
I would be down
to
for
do
it.
it.
Yes.
And based on Instagram, he's got the following that would follow him into the lands of Arnor.
Do you know
as they fall?
I'm curious to reframe this question. If they do bring back any familiar characters from the Lord of the Rings, would you guys be upset if they're cast as totally new people? Like a different person playing Gandalf, a different person
you
playing
can't.
Galadriel.
No,
would you guys want that?
You can't replace Gandalf because Ian McKellen went on the record 2 months ago saying
He's interested in doing
Gandalf
this.
is so old that he would look the same in this show time-wise. So there's no young Gandalf, period. So Ian McKellen is the only option for Gandalf. And
yes,
and they have and Jeff Bezos has $1 billion to spend.
So he can afford.
Yeah, he's got all the money in the world to get Ian McKellen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love Ian McKellen to actually be Gandalf all over again. Although
there's only one choice.
There might not be a lot for Gandalf to do until
now
maybe
in the
season
chat
2 or
in the
season
chat
3.
room. What's this guy's name that you guys keep mentioning? Clive Standen.
IMDb. Let's look up Clive Standen.
Look up Clive Standen. A few people in the chat room have mentioned his name. We got to update this graphic because I don't know who that is.
How do you spell his name? C-L-I-V-E.
Standen.
S-T-A-N-D.
E-N.
E-N. Search.
Who's going to play Sauron? Well, we hope Benedict Cumberbatch because he's already played Sauron. It only makes sense to maintain continuity with Benedict Cumberbatch, who's wonderful in this new show on Showtime.
Well, he's on Vikings. He plays Rollo. He plays Rollo on Vikings. He was in Taken opposite Liam Neeson. He was. He's been in Vikings, and he was in the movie Everest. That's what he's best known for.
Well, Vikings is a good show. Yeah. I see that. Clive Standen on. Wow.
Yeah, here we go.
The
there he
room.
is. Yeah, there we go. There's Clive Standen.
Oh, from Vikings. Yeah, the chat room is way ahead of us.
Yeah, from Vikings. Oh, yeah. There you go.
He's too old.
No.
I want.
Do you know, maybe he could be one of the Rohirrim. Maybe he could be one of King Thengul's warriors.
Aragorn should be younger than that.
Not as Aragorn?
Yeah.
No, but if you put him in a blonde wig, he could be Rohirrim.
Yeah,
but he's got that rugged Viking thing.
Aragorn's got to be younger. Again, I'm going Cole Sprouse type age. Right there, 19, 20.
Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, we don't even know yet what kind of age range they're going to stay in for certain segments of the story, although there is a lot of time to cover.
That's right.
That's the thing. They have so much time to cover. Boy, my phone blowing up.
All right. What about Grant Gustin as young Aragorn? The Flash? Wow. No. Like him.
I like him as the Flash. I don't know if I would like him as Aragorn because he's too optimistic, too altruistic.
But don't you think that would be a great character arc to see how Aragorn goes from the line of kings to avoiding the throne when we meet him in Lord of the Rings as the ranger who abdicate,
Oh, hey.
He's not the right fit. The Flash is not the right fit. Too happy? Yeah. Aragorn shouldn't be happy? Jared Leto? No. What? Jared's an elf. Jared Leto's an elf.
Jared Leto he would only be played as
He's
an
a
elf.
woodland elf.
He
He reports to Lee Pace as Thranduil. So did Lindier. What's his name?
Lindier is the guy from Flight of the Conchords, right?
Brett McKenzie?
Brett McKenzie. But do y'all want Orlando Bloom to come back and be Legolas again?
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
No.
But do you think he's going to look young? He's going to look like he can do that?
He looked 20 years older in The Hobbit.
No,
Yeah, he looked rather jowly in The Hobbit, didn't he?
CGI the heck out of him.
You know what?
X-23 from Logan?
Oh,
Yes.
Hey, I know who I want to cast in this new Amazon series, Ed Skrein. I want Ed Skrein from the first Deadpool movie. I want him somewhere, somehow.
As the
maybe
Rohirrim?
Maybe as the Witch King, maybe as a villain, maybe in Rohan, but he came into Meltdown Comics.
That's right.
Okay? And he was so serious about Deadpool that he was buying all these comics and doing all of his research, and he was on point. And I'm like, I'll give Ed credit for doing his research for the role of film.
Who is the first of the Nazgul that we meet?
From the depths of the shadow.
So they could cast Brad Pitt as
don't-
a Nazgul, and we'll never see his face.
Nazgul don't have ID chips. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh,
People
gosh.
who know are laughing. All right.
That was Brad Pitt as the vanished.
What are you doing?
Oh, sorry.
All right, and there's one other person that JC brought up from the
I'm
show.
just gonna throw it out.
This
Man.
Is Us. Do you watch that show? Do you cry with that show? His name's Justin Hartley.
Justin Hartley from This Is Us.
On NBC. I am not the demographic for that
Do you
show.
know what?
I have not. Only the biggest show on TV. I'm not the demographic. Sorry.
It is a beautiful melodrama. I haven't really followed it along very much, but
Justin Hartley. I'm keeping on the list just because I like his name. He's a good elf. That's what we have. He's a good elf. All right, so I'm gonna have to update this graphic, but let's go
You
through.
are gonna have to.
Vigo, maybe in future
wait.
future Flash.
in future framing devices, Vigo, but
Right.
child that she could have, if she doesn't leave Middle Earth. So she goes running back, all pissed off to her father, and says, "Why didn't you tell 3064 FRODO?" And said, "Wouldn't Aragorn or King Elisar sit and talk to his boy, share some stories with him, stories about his life and his adventures?" That could be interesting.
as a framing device.
That's a perfect way to just bring us comfortably into.
Under the white tree of Gondor.
Well, it would be successful for the studio to have Vigo be there to legitimize the whole affair.
Yep.
It would legitimize it so much in the eyes of fans to have him as a framing device. So I'm down for that idea. I really like that idea.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the most original writing in the world, but it's safe and it works. And no, but
We got laughter.
you could put some prosthetics on him and let him play a dwarf. Shia LaBeouf could be one of the long beards of Durin's line, and he might be awesome at that. He might. You don't want to see him at all.
Shia
He's
as
like,
a dwarf? That would.
You wanna
That's
see?
kind of inspired.
Just do it and say, don't do it.
Okay, no Shia LaBeouf. All right, veto from the audience.
Can you imagine Shia as a dwarf taunting the Balrog?
I can imagine. Hey, that's on my tab, by the way. You
Yeah.
are not buying.
In the first 30 seconds.
Oh boy.
Well, I want to see Shia LaBeouf digging up a crystal skull in Moria. That's what I want to see.
Stop it. All right.
Sorry.
Cole Sprouse as
Sprouse?
young Aragorn.
Well, hubs up. I'm there for Riz Ahmed in anything. And I like the suggestion that Numenorians might look ethnically different or distinct from everybody else in Middle-earth who is so porcelain white all the damn time.
Huh.
I really would like to see something refreshing like that.
All right. Cillian Murphy as young Aragorn.
No.
No.
As an elf, yes.
As an elf.
Cillian Murphy is... Oh, hey.
All right, Alex.
Now we've got a major Lord of the Rings character who's never appeared, Glorfindel. What if he's been left out of the books? He never even made it into the Ralph Bakshi animated
That
version.
could be Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy could be one of the most powerful elf lords ever because he is one of the only elf lords who died back in the days of the Silmarillion and was brought back to life by Iluvatar. He could be the resurrected elf.
Okay.
That could be a total Cillian Murphy grandstanding
All right, we're
thing
axing
there.
him off the list
I
of Aragorn.
It'd be great. I smell an Emmy. I smell
boy.
an Emmy award right there for Cillian
All right,
Murphy. Yes. You guys are awesome. by the way.
Alexander Skarsgård as
Yes.
young Aragorn.
Yep. I like him in everything.
Yeah?
Yep. Yeah, check your head at the door.
Okay, we got him confused. Alex
Alexander.
Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Alex Skarsgård. He is Tarzan.
Yes.
He's not Pennywise. Thank God.
Okay, you
All
got
right,
the Skarsgård
then-
brothers
yeah.
crossed. Oh
All right,
my gosh.
thumbs up on Alex
Oh my gosh.
Skarsgård. I'll keep him
Thank
on
you.
the list.
We're getting real granular now.
All right, Sebastian
Get
Stan.
it right. You got to get it right.
Sebastian Stan as young Aragorn.
Yes, Sebastian Stan is probably, we're getting loud
Oh,
applause.
yeah.
We're getting real applause. Okay.
That's
all
the
right.
biggest one.
Everyone loves Bucky all the time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I want a Bucky and Rocket.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh man,
yes.
that was so good.
That's super good.
Let's see. We
Super
got
good.
Tim Pocock from X-Men Origins Wolverine, a movie that shouldn't exist. So we're just gonna X at that. Zac Efron. I don't know why he's on this list.
That's a joke.
We did
That's a
not talk
joke.
about Adam Driver as young Aragorn.
Because there's nothing to say.
What? Wait. But you want to? I could see it. I could see it.
Pull up my bootstraps and fight you on this one.
You're Xing him out, like
Because Adam Driver has yet to resolve his character arc in what will be episode 9.
that's not his fault.
Because he's going to be so strongly associated with that franchise, you're in Robb Stark territory. Why would you have someone who is Jon Snow or Robb Stark or, Kylo Ren come in and be such a recognizable person in our Tolkien universe? The answer is no. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
No.
all right. He's too Star Warsy.
He's too Star Wars, but I like him. I like Adam Driver.
All right, Richard
hey,
Madden,
Cliff.
Robb Stark as
Cliff.
young Aragorn.
Cliff,
What?
do you
Yes, sir.
think that maybe Indiana Jones being cast as Harrison Ford is too Star Warsy because he was Han Solo first?
Oh,
I mean, can you name who the actor is who played Robb Stark? Can you tell me the color of his eyes? I didn't ask you. I'm just saying.
All right, the
you
voice
know.
in the background is JC.
I'm not on.
No, you're not, but here. All right, I appreciate that you want me to be intellectually honest, and I will try on my own show. I will try to be intellectually honest here. The reason why is because we didn't have the internet back then. We as consumers of pop culture iconography didn't talk, share, and bounce this cultural resonance off of each other back then. It was far easier back then for someone like Mr. Harrison Ford
You
to
win.
step out of those shoes and into another pair. Nowadays, there's this different thing going on in how we respond to this iconography in our pop culture. It's very different now.
Makes perfect sense.
All right.
You win.
Thanks.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm put to shame.
I love you, though. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. You're awesome. No, back to this crazy list.
All right, you already scratched off Robb Stark, Richard Madden as young Aragorn, Tanner Buchanan
Sure.
from Cobra Kai.
Yes, Tanner Buchanan.
That was an amazing show. It was better than it had any right to be.
Yes,
and,
that's what I keep hearing.
Watch that show. It's on YouTube Red, or I guess they renamed it. Like, it's on YouTube paid. or premium or
Do you know what?
extra.
My friend said just get the trial membership, watch
Yeah.
Cobra Kai, and then
Yeah,
and then you're done.
it's awesome. So Tanner
Yeah.
Buchanan is a young guy in the show. Watch it and then come back to us and see
And
what you say.
we'll
But I'm
give-
leaving him on the list.
I'm going to take a look at that show, and I'll give you a fresh assessment next week.
And
All
then
right, we'll do
there's
that.
Justin Hartley from This Is Us, recommended by JC, who says
Yes,
it's
JC.
the biggest show on TV.
Yep.
So I guess we should be watching it. So I have no judgment on that. So we're leaving him on the list. And then Grant Gustin as the Flash.
Grant Gustin.
Everyone basically X'd out the Flash. He's too nice. He's too...
Really?
He's just too... yeah, not... No.
Well, then how about
yeah, keep him on the Flash.
The Flash? Every time someone says The Flash, I keep thinking Ezra Miller for some reason. I wonder why. I wonder if that's even going to happen. All right. Yeah, all right. See, now, okay. This has been a very interesting bit of speculation, and this is one of the most fun places that we can be because it energizes us as fans. It
That's
really
right.
does. Because we want to express our enthusiasm, and we also want to express our anxiety and our fears at the same time. That Amazon has, well, they're in an unenviable position. They have the most expensive license that any production team has ever had, ever, period. I don't think there's anything on record as costly as this.
I will say this. I know you said Peter Jackson should play in the film world. He still owes Steven Spielberg a Tintin movie.
That's not going to happen.
But I do feel
But he
that
does.
Weta Workshop should be involved in some capacity, at least building those bigatures again, shooting in New Zealand.
Can we add a comment that we do have some information on that? Like we tried to talk about last week when we had a very, bump in the road kind of technical glitch in our show, but I hope everybody got the message. We reported last week that the German website,
Herr der Ring.
I'm trying to switch from English to German, Der Herr der Ringe, and they reported that Weta has been preparing to pull all their stuff out of storage and reuse sets, props, and weapons and cultural elements from all that stuff from the 6 films and repurpose them for Amazon's new series.
Yeah.
It already exists. That means they don't have to go wandering in a whole new direction for cultural looks of dwarves, elves, humans, and hobbits. Right.
Right, they don't have
Yep.
to redesign it.
Yep.
Like, just use those designs.
And this kind of consistency of an aesthetic will bring an audience who wants to come back into the familiar of Middle-earth. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yes,
That's
we
right.
agree.
It's, some of those older things, if you couldn't hear at home, some
as-
of those older things are just so good.
Yeah, they
it's
are.
not worth changing.
Thank you for
at all.
Yeah, thank you. That's well said.
Well,
so as Gandalf would say, that is an encouraging thought. Yes.
And the one thing is, with $1 billion, pay whatever Ian McKellen needs, and lock him up for 5 years.
But he
so
won't
he does
officiate your wedding.
Like, Ian McKellen is the only Gandalf that we need. Cliff, this has been a wonderful conversation.
It really has been a great
and
conversation.
We're gonna have fun fan casting these, and I have to mention that we're not just fan casting. As the OneRing.net, we've been around since 1999. We have a panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year, which just got confirmed for our 16th year in a row.
Gosh,
And in
wow,
fact,
yes.
In fact, Warner Brothers actually came to us after The Hobbit was done, and they said they cast Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins because we told them to at our San Diego
And
Comic-Con
there
panel.
were some driving conversations. Thank
So-
you. We did have those
And
conversations.
as Cliff just pointed out earlier in the show, that his fan casting of Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn, posted on our website, was pinned to the door of the casting director on Lord of the Rings. So
no, that was back in 1999 when I was trying to cast myself in the Blood.
well, there, yeah, you were in the room, but
Not in the room.
this effort, this exercise that we're
Okay.
going here of like showrunners we want and Aragorn actors that you should consider, they're paying attention.
Yes,
and,
that's
and
the fun thing about it. The louder we are and the more we talk about what we want to see in these shows, what our expectations are for being true to Tolkien while taking full advantage of the license that they have, because there's so much material in the appendices they can go with and a lot of different directions it can go. That might be the problem. That might be the great benefit, and also the problem.
The
is that
fans
there's
have
so
a voice.
much time to cross.
The fans
So
have
much.
a voice, and this thing has to be in production within 18 months. So decisions are being made
that's no small
as
task.
we speak. They are hiring creative artists. They are hiring showrunners. They're hiring writers. They're hiring art departments to start designing all of the sets
They're
and
hiring
everything.
Tolkien consultants, documentarians who know Tolkien.
So all of your tweets
Hi,
are
Amazon.
being paying attention to. Everyone that we've mentioned on the show, some of them we've actually heard have been approached already. So and we know that some of the showrunners that we talked about last week have already pitched what they want to do with Young Aragorn. So this is beyond speculation. These are real people
Yes.
in the room,
Yes.
and your reactions here in the chat room, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and in person.
Yeah.
Will hopefully give confidence to Amazon's showrunners and decision makers
Yes. There
who
was
they
a
should
lot
choose.
of talk last week about Straczynski, the great, the great god in the sky who made Babylon 5, Michael J. Straczynski.
Straczynski's been
J.
in the
Michael
room.
Straczynski. Imagine him show running Lord of the Rings
Brian
for us.
Fuller from Hannibal has been in
Yes,
the room.
and Brian Fuller, we've been talking about him too.
Yeah. So
Oh, boy.
there's a lot of opportunity. We're
There
here
is.
every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific live from the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood. We're literally on Hollywood Boulevard. There's stars on the Walk of Fame right in front of us. In fact, Sid Grauman is right in front of this place. And you
Is
can
Sid Grauman star right down there?
Sid Grauman is right there.
That's awesome.
And then right after this show, I'm going to walk a few blocks and see Solo at Sid Grauman's Chinese Theater. Where I hope I'm going to enjoy it.
What do you mean? It's your
And-
second time seeing it.
Yeah, it's my second time,
It's your second. He knows.
and I'm going to
yeah.
have just as much fun.
It was fun.
It's not in 3D. We saw all the Lord of the Rings movies
I
there.
mean, one word about Solo. The cinematography caught me by surprise because I felt for a moment I was in a Chronicles of Riddick film or something. It was not the usual bright, crisp aesthetic of a Star Wars film, but it was intriguing. It was intriguing.
Let me ask you this.
And in the best part, the young actor who's now playing Chewbacca has so much soul in his eyes. His eyes are so present and beautifully done. Great Chewbacca. Like, the highlight of the film for me was Chewie. He was just
I will
great.
support Solo if only to convince them to say yes to Willow 2 by Ron Howard. So
Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis coming back. That's why he was there.
Val Kilmer coming back. Everybody.
No, not what? Really? You think Val Kilmer's gonna come back?
He was on Reddit saying
Really?
he's in the room.
Well, Michael Keaton's been singing about Beetlejuice 2 forever as well. They're all in the room, but it hasn't happened yet. What are you, nuts?
Anyway, we're here every.
I love this guy. I have to say, I love co-hosting with this guy. Y'all, this is Justin. Give a hand for Justin Sewell, our producer.
And
We
Cliff
went-
Broadway, our host,
Thank
with
you.
the most.
Thank you, guys.
And please join us every
This guy.
Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And if you're ever in LA, please come up and join the crowd as they're here.
This amazing intergalactic sci-fi cantina, it's called Scum and Villainy. Very familiar environment, supporting all kinds of fandoms. They have karaoke on Thursdays, which is raucous good fun. They've got cross-dressing cosplay at least once a month, which is even more good fun, mischief managed. You've got Star Trek events, theonering.net here every Tuesday, and all the other, like Star Wars fandom, all supported here. Oh, that's the new thing. Our friends Chelsea and that really cool guy with her. What's his name? William? Bill? Yeah. And they're going to do game night here.
every Monday.
High voltage game night. So cool.
Every Monday.
So cool. Oh, that's Will. Will Pasquin. Will and Chelsea. I love
Yeah.
those guys.
And
They're
Firefly is the theme next week.
Really?
For board game night. So Mondays are board game nights, and Tuesdays are Tolkien.
good. I think I'll bring my Firefly Yahtzee to play. You shake up the dice in the battleship and roll the ship. I'm down for
Lord
that.
of the Rings
Lord of the
D&D.
Rings D&D.
This guy can DM all day long.
Now, all right. I really want to talk a little bit more about casting for this show, but we'll have much more of that next week.
I got to
And
update that graphic and add some of the names that the chat room has graciously given us.
Yeah,
So-
and you guys in the YouTube chat have been fantastic, and thank you. We've been on Periscope, Twitter Live, YouTube Live. We did a bypass on Facebook this week, didn't we?
Yeah, Facebook's broken.
Facebook has some jiggery, pokery.
Facebook is
That's not working.
emotionally broken, so we're only on YouTube and Twitch
Sorry,
now.
Facebook. Someone put a gremlin in your microwave. Bye. Yeah,
So much better live. Thank
All right.
you.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for. By the way, Mr. Kevin Smith is going to be right here live in just a little while.
That's right.
Right? I want to give a big happy birthday to my friend Bells. Very good, sir. Bon anniversaire. Happy birthday to you, sir.
And we'll see you next week on Torn Tuesday.
Yes, he knows half of you, half as well as you should like. And he likes less than half of you, half as well as you deserve, right? Come on, bring it.